Hello YouTube, this is a June 2019 budget Lightsworn Phantom Knight deck profile. So part of the fun of Yu-Gi-Oh in my opinion is being creative with your deck building, and combining archetypes is really part of that fun. This is a slower deck. It doesn't spam out monsters. I mean, usually you're just going to have one XYZ or one Synchro in the extra zone, not having link monsters pointing to those Synchros or XYZs. But you know, that said, Lightsworns and Phantom Knights really go together. They have heavy graveyard reliance, so please enjoy the profile. So we start off with triple Raiden. Raiden is the star here. It's really the one you want to see in your opening hand because it mills 4 cards per turn, 2 during the main phase and 2 during the end phase. It's also a level 4, so perfect for your rank 4s, and it's a level 4 tuner. So I feel like it's kind of hard to find good level 4 tuners, but this is really an example of one. So definitely one, like I said, that you want to see in your opening hand. So next I have 3 Luminas. This card special summons a Lightsworn from the graveyard if you discard 1 card. Really good effect because you definitely need more materials to go into whatever extra deck summons you're going for. That cost too is not bad at all. You want to see cards in your graveyard, so discarding normally is a downside, but in this deck it's good. It's also a level 3 light monster, so you need, to make Michael in this deck, you actually need the specific combination of Raiden and Lumina, so I definitely like having 3 of each. So next we have double Lila. This is your back row removal. It does unfortunately switch itself to defense mode after you pop a back row, but still a solid card. I mean, sometimes I find myself wanting to attack, but it does mill 3 at the end phase, just like Lumina does. It didn't mention that, but you know, all these Lightsworn effects have those milling effects, or most of them. This is actually one that doesn't. We have double Wolf. This card is you know, it's a big benefit when you do mill it or send it to the grave from the deck, because it's a free special summon of this level 4 monster here with a lot of attack points. It's also a beast warrior, so in this deck, in this build, to make curious with light monsters, you do need a beast warrior, one of these 2 beast warriors here, because the other light monsters are spellcasters or warriors. So we have some one-ups for Lightsworns. We have 1 Jane, which is, you know, not too strong of a card, only gaining 300 attack during the damage step, but it does mill 2 cards, and I just wanted a fair amount of light monsters in this build, because I do run one cool kind of tech that I will keep a surprise until I get there, but I wanted a good amount of light monsters. 1 Aaron. Which is like that Suzuki Samurai card. I can't remember which one of those Suzuki Samurais that destroys a defense position monster before damage calculation, but this one just shuffles that defense position monster into the deck, and it does mill those 3 cards. 1 Garoth, which is like your additional Lightsworn effect. If you mill with a Lightsworn monster, this card mills 2 more, and then if you mill any Lightsworn monsters with Garoth's effect, you can draw 1 card for each Lightsworn monster that you milled with that additional effect. So a decent attack too. You know, if you have it on the field, you can just pile up the, or really, you know, load up on those Lightsworn graveyard effects. And that is it for the Lightsworn monsters. So that is the bulk of the light monster in this deck. But now we're going into Phantom Knights. We got 3 cloaks, and you know, I'll just go through all of them here. 3 of the obvious ones. No level 4s in this deck. Just 3 of each of the cloaks and the gloves and the boots. These are what you're going into your rank 3s with, and they all have those great graveyard banishing effects. I mean, searches any of these cards and any of the traps. This one searches the traps, and then this one just dumps either of these 2, or the trap 2 if you want to special summon 1 from the grave with Fogblade. Boots also special summons itself, which is pretty useful for going into that Dante. If you normal the cloak, you can go right into your Dante. So these are the bulk of the dark monsters in the deck. Now we have a bit of a performance engine here. We have triple Trick Clown, which is a really useful card in a graveyard reliant deck because it special summons itself or any other performance monster when it's sent to the grave, and then you take 1,000 damage. So that 1,000 damage usually is a downside, but with this one other card that I do run, it works perfectly. So really cool card, because it can not only special summon other performance monsters, but it can special summon itself. Then we have one Hat Tricker, which is an Earth monster. I should note here. Got 4 Earth monsters in this deck, but this is one that doesn't have anything to do with the graveyard. It just special summons itself if you control 2 or more monsters. Sometimes you can search this card, Hat Tricker, with Damage Juggler, which is one reason why I run the Hat Tricker. But also, I do like having that one extra special summon to help me with my Link summons or my extra deck summons. Damage Juggler has 3 effects. 2 of them are hand trap effects that negate either effect or battle damage. But the Banish effect searches any performance monster, and it's also limited, I should say. So that's the performance engine. And here's the one cool inclusion that I did, choice that I did want to save. Until now, it's Chaos Sorcerer, which is a free special summon if you banish a light or a dark monster. So part of the fun of Yu-Gi-Oh, like I said, is taking advantage of the different qualities that go together, kind of symbiotically in different archetypes. So light and dark, Lightsworn and Phantom Knight, perfect choice. Chaos Sorcerer, I think, it's definitely a cool choice because it's such an OG card. It banishes a card on the field, or face a monster. We got a Necro Guard now, which is an attack negation if you banish it. So definitely one that can help out in a slower deck to protect your monsters. We have a Glow Up Bulb, which is another Earth monster here. It's obvious choice in a deck with graveyard synergy, because not only does it special summon itself from the grave with its own effect, but to get that effect active, you have to mill a card too. So perfect, like Lumina, you want to see those cards in the grave. For Lumina, it's cost. In this card, actually, it's not cost. But anyway, Dotscaper is the next card, which special summons itself if it's sent to the grave or if it's banished. So another Earth monster. Hat Tricker is a Spellcaster Earth. Dotscaper is a Cyberse Earth. Glow Up Bulb's a Plant Earth, and this last Earth monster is a Warrior. So more options for Curious too. All Earth, different types. Thousand Blades is a cool card because it works so well with Trick Clown. The Trick Clown Thousand Blades combo is definitely one that I really like, and I think is seriously classic. So I'm happy I can finally talk about it. When you take damage with Trick Clown, you can when you take damage at all, for example with Trick Clown, you can special summon Thousand Blades from the graveyard. So you can do that a lot of times with triple Trick Clown and 1000 Blades. So last 4 monsters here. 2 are Plague Spreader Zombie, which is your level 2 tuner. I needed a level 2 tuner. You got Glow Bulb for the level 1, Raiden for the level 4. It can be annoying to place a card from your hand on top of the deck and then draw that card the next turn, but I thought I'd include a tuner in here of level 2. And then we have 2 Malicious, which is another level 6 monster. You got Chaos Sorcerer, which is a level 6, and Malicious, so I do run one rank 6. And those are the monsters. For some spells, don't run too many spells because I don't like to mill cards that don't have graveyard effects. I mean, if you mill a spell, it's just kind of a waste of that mill. But Charge of the Light Brigade is like a lot of the Lightsworn monsters, and a Rhoda built in. It searches the Lightsworn and then also mills cards. So pretty obvious choice in a Lightsworn deck. 2 Twin Twisters for back row removal, and also it's got that cost, which is beneficial in this deck. 1 Foolish Burial, which is, the core effect of sending from deck to grave, so pretty obvious choice. 1 1-for-1, which sends you have to send a monster from hand to grave as cost, so another good beneficial cost, and then special summon Glow Up over Dotscaper. And then finally we got a Galaxy Cyclone, which is probably my favorite spell in this deck, not because it's the best, but because it does have a graveyard related effect. You can pop a set spell if it's from the field of your hand, but you can pop a face-up spell if you banish it. So for the traps, only 5 traps here. We got Triple Fog Blade for your defense, and does special summon that Phantom Knight monster from the graveyard if you banish it. So if you mill it, it's not a total waste. And then we have 2 Breakthrough Skills, which is like Galaxy Cyclone. It's got an effect on the field, but it's also got an effect if you banish it during your turn. It has to be if you banish it to negate effects. So that's the main deck. Around 47 cards, I think. So Definitely fun to play with a deck that has more than the standard 40. But onto the extra deck, we're running one Curious, which has a lot of effects. If it's destroyed by battle or leaves the field by an opponent's card effect, you can add one card from your graveyard to your hand. So that's just, you know, a cool additional effect. But the two with the bullet points here are really the focus. I think if it's link summoned, it's got a Foolish Burial effect, and then if it's like Growth, if you mill a card, you can send an additional 3. With Growth, it's 2, I think, but Curious is an additional 3, and it's got great arrows. It does have the same arrows as Decode Talker. So one Phantom Knights of Rusty Bardich, which is your dark link monster here. Of course, you can make Curious with dark monsters, but Phantom Knights of Rusty Bardich sets Fogblade from the deck, and it also mills, or it sends to the grave one Phantom Knight monster. No dark XYZs in this extra deck, but I thought I'd include the Phantom Knights one. And then finally for the link monsters, we have one land. I mean, it could have included Wee Witches or Hit Potion again, but the thing is, because dark and light are opposites, those two other link monsters, the Hit Potion again or Wee Witches, do disadvantage the opposing attribute. So I included the neutral one, land. So those are the link monsters. We have Double Dante, which is your, you know, the only rank 3 that I run here. It mills 3 cards per turn, so, you know, absolutely perfect in this deck. I think any I don't include Burning Abyss in this Burning Abyss in this lineup here. It's only Lightsworn Phantom Knight, but this card does go right in. So we have some rank 4s. We have pretty standard ones, Honor Arc, as well as a Dweller. Dweller only stops the graveyard effects of your opponent. If it stopped both players' graveyard effects, it would definitely be a bad choice. But I think sometimes going into Dweller blindly is worth it, because it's got a quick effect that really can interrupt your opponent's turn. And then lastly, for the XYZs, we have a Photon Strike Bouncer, which is your rank 6. It negates an effect, quick effect, and also inflicts 1000 burn damage. Unfortunately, doesn't destroy. I wish Norito didn't require spellcasters. I would definitely run Norito, but Photon Strike Bouncer is a good alternative. So we have a lot of synchros coming up. We have 2 level 5s, 1 Ally of Justice Catastor, and 1 Armades. I think these are like some of the most go-to level 5 synchros here. Destroys a monster that it battles with at the start of the damage step, unless it's dark. So usually that can just get rid of your opponent's monster. It's good removal. Armades stops your opponent from activating effects until the end of the damage step. If it attacks, so no traps, no flip effects, you know, no quick play spells. 1 level 6 synchro, a Coral Dragon, which is also a tuner, I should say. So sometimes going into the Coral Dragon is not too bad, because you know, if you just go into one of these and it gets destroyed, then during your opponent's turn, you're left with nothing. But at least with this one, you get to draw 1 card, and also got a way to pop an opponent's card if you discard a card. So again, beneficial cost right there. 1 level 7 synchro, the Michael, which has a lot of good effects, but it can banish a card on the field by paying 1000 life points. And then also, it mills 3 like a lot of these Lightsworns, and it does shuffle into the deck Lightsworns from your graveyard, and you gain some life points. But definitely a solid synchro here, because banishing, it does target, but I mean, banishing is another form of removal that is not destruction. 2 level 8 synchros here, Hot Red Dragon Archfiend, as well as Stardust Dragon. I find myself going into Stardust Dragon a lot because it's got that quick effect to negate destruction effects, and then does special summon itself after you tribute it. So pretty classic card here. Definitely a solid level 8 synchro. I mean, I go into Dweller usually, or Stardust Dragon, sometimes Coral Dragon, because I like having that ability to draw, but Stardust Dragon and Dweller are really the primary extra deck monsters, in my opinion. That's what I find myself using. And then lastly, for the synchros, we have 1 Mistworm, which requires 2 non-tuners as well as a tuner. So maybe Raiden, Wolf, and Dotscaper. That's a fine combination. So it does target when you do bounce those cards that your opponent controls, but I mean, still a decent way to remove cards from your opponent that they control. So that is the budget Lightsworn Phantom Knight deck profile for June 2019. I hope you enjoyed it because, like I said, putting deck together and just having your own way to play the game. You know, I didn't come up with Lightsworn Phantom Knights, obviously, but I think it's still a display of you know, some kind of creative way to have fun with the game, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.